Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Dynamic Dialogue After Show. I'm your host, Megan Martin, and I'm here today with Adam Saad. Quick reminder for those that maybe don't know Adam, he was helping enterprise groups navigate telecom and contact center for 8 years. He was on the selling side at Salesforce as the top AE before getting completely burned out. Can't wait to get into that. The burnout is real for so many of us. Then deciding to start his own company, making sure that people are using the right technology and helping fix some of those pain points, realizing the full potential of your tech stack. He's the founder and CEO of Tech Stack Advising, where his mission is to help businesses maximize their investment in contact center technology. So welcome to the after show. We're going to dive in deep. Event about it was fun, told some funny stories, but we're going to get into the nuggets. So very first thing I want to know is let's talk about burnout. This is so real. I mean, you talked in the podcast episode about your house literally being destroyed by a hurricane, and you're on your laptop in the middle of no drywall, rebuilding your house after it got hit. I mean, how does that not equate to burnout when you were an AE at Salesforce? You know, how do you manage? How do you manage?
Well, I don't think I really have a choice. It's like, there's a concept around like, oh, I'll do my best. And I don't do my best. I do what's required. And that's a big difference. And what's required is just keep going. In business, there's no winners. You stay in. Winning is staying in business as long as that business continues to serve you.
I love that as an entrepreneur, and thinking back at your time at Salesforce, like what was burning you out? Was it the grind? Was it working for the man? Like, how did you know you were getting burnt out and wanted to do something different?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like I got tired of climbing other people's mountains, and I eventually just wanted to build my own rocket ship and go to the moon. That's really what it just boils down to.
And was there like an aha moment or a definitive thing that happened where you were just like, I'm done with this. I want my own rocket ship?
Yeah, I mean, for me, corporate sales, enterprise sales was really great learning. It was extremely lucrative. These tech companies offered amazing benefits. So as I was growing as a professional, it was a really great place to be. But I was number one rep every single place I've ever been. And I had always asked for a promotion, and I would never get promotions in the management. I wanted to get into management, and I had ideas of becoming a chief revenue officer. And so, I was number one at Five9, where I was before Salesforce. And I asked for a promotion, and it was like, they didn't say this, but like the sentiment was like, no, I was 28 years old. My teammates were in their 40s and 50s. And they're like, you're not going to manage adults. And that's okay. So I go to Salesforce, number one global rep there, did a $25 million deal with a very large hospitality group during COVID, which was crazy in and of itself.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because none of them were spending money. This one, we just ran a really great deal. Asked for a promotion, and they laughed in my face and are like, no, you're just going to do this for 3 more years. So I was just like, okay, like eventually you just hit like, where do you go from Salesforce being the top rep after that? And no one's going to promote you into management. So I was like, all right, like I'd always wanted to start my own company. It was just a matter of when. And when you hit that glass ceiling, it's like, all right, well, again, I'm just tired of climbing other people's mountains and doing a great job of that. And I'm like, let's go do it on my own now.
I very much empathize with that sentiment. Ran into that many times myself. One of the things I sort of experienced, I'm wondering if you had this as well, is not just not getting the promotion, but like, you're so good at what you do, we can't afford to promote you to not do what you're doing anymore. Like, you're so good, we can't replace you, which means you can't get promoted.
Yeah, I think that happens, but it's, you can just lose A players doing that.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I've moved companies quite a few times because of said scenario. So thinking a little bit forward ahead. So now you've started your own company, you're building your own rocket ship to go to Mars. Where did events factor into the growth strategy as you were getting started?
Yeah, so as a salesperson, the lead source for me, like at Five9, Salesforce, and anywhere else I'd ever been, trade shows wasn't really the focus. For us, like I looked at these sales organizations and they had BDRs and they spent all this money in Google ads and all these different like lead and customer acquisition strategies. And I never really paid attention to trade shows as much. But as I started building Tech Stack, I tried a number of different different customer acquisition strategies like cold calling and cold emailing, posting on LinkedIn, which I continue to do, building a great website. And, to me, those were all like low leverage activities. Like I can only, like me, myself, I can call one person at a time.
Sure.
Right. Whereas I got advice, really, it came in the form of advice. I talked to a private equity firm and they were trying to acquire us. And I asked the managing partner at that private equity firm, I was like, hey, by the way, like you talk to a lot of organizations that look like us. What are they doing to acquire customers? And she before I could even finish my question, she was like, trade shows. She's like, you got to go to trade shows. And I was like, okay, I will just do that. And it's been working.
I mean, again, we talked in the podcast about having in-house expertise. So when you heard that from your private equity firm, what did your in-house expertise tell you about that?
Agreement. And it was more like, here's how you can do it as a small growing business with limited budget. Here's the best way to go about that. You can backpack, or you can get a booth, or you can sponsor. I mean, there's many flavors of how you can get involved in events. So we've been trying different things and just kind of testing what's working. For me, I'm a big hypothesis guy. So I'll build a hypothesis, test the hypothesis, measure the results. Whatever worked, take that into the next hypothesis and continue to reiterate until we find something that works. And then when we find something that works, we quadruple down on it and try to put as much into that as we possibly can.
Oh, I love that. So you've obviously found something that works. We talked about how you spent $25,000 on a sponsorship and booth at a show that gave you 17x. So obviously you've refined your hypothesis and found the system that's working for you. How did you determine what factors, what did the events team give you that you were like, okay, this show, this audience is worth my 25,000?
Yeah, I think for us, what we discovered, we tried like different, I guess, like DNA profiles of shows, right? Like I went to the largest healthcare show and all the way down to the smallest, most niche, like technology user group shows, where they might have 50 total booths versus, I don't know what the big healthcare one has, like thousands and
tens of thousands.
Yeah, I can't even quantify. I don't like the place was insane. And what we found was these small, intimate technology user groups are the best ones for us. And we only learned that from trying, right? The big healthcare one, we had a 0x. We didn't get one single customer from it. And so we're just like, we'll just never do that again.
I love it. So are you talking with the events team? Are they trying to sell you on the booth, or are you doing a lot of your own research to determine what's working and what's not?
Yeah, I think for us, we do our own research. So we build a hypothesis. Hey, we've identified this technology user group. Let's, inquire with the events team about what the attendee profile looks like. How many attendees? What's the booth cost? Who else exhibits at the show? And then we just kind of make a decision. I try not to overanalyze it, but it's like, yeah, okay, cool. CIOs and VPs of IT and customer experience leaders are going, and there's 50 other booths. Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable. And it's 15 grand. And then we add maybe like a couple dinners and travel and hotels to it. Like, okay, cool. Let's just do that.
And how are you determining that profile? Is it the event website? Are you looking through an attendee list? Where are you doing the research to find out that CIOs and CTOs are going to the shows?
Yeah, well, the first thing, so the one I'm thinking of we've been a repeat attendee is one of my customers actually told me to go to the show. So one of our high, not a big customer, but a high paying, good, healthy LTV customer. He was like, hey, by the way, are you going to this show? And I was like, should I? He goes, you should absolutely go. And so I just went. Awesome. I barely even did any research. I was just inquired, paid the money, got a booth, went. And it was the first time we went, we got a 28x return on it.
Okay. Well, event planners, listen, your attendees are your biggest advocates for sponsorship sales. I completely agree with that. It's not leveraged enough. So thinking post-show, do these event organizers reach out to you to find out about your experience? Are they asking you, did you get 10x, 28x on your investment of coming to our show? Are they asking any questions about your experience? Other than a survey, do they just email you a survey link and be like, fill this out? Or do they actually talk to you?
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the clarification, because I was going to say, yes, they do, but I don't respond because they're just surveys and I'm not filling out surveys.
And any opposition to filling out a survey?
I don't want to spend the time on it, even if it's 5 minutes.
What if they called you and said, "Hey, what was your experience? How'd the show perform for your company?" Would you take the call?
If I decided to answer an unknown number, I would. Yeah.
How millennial of you.
Yeah. The amount of calls I get every day, I don't answer anything. But if on the off chance I'm expecting somebody else to call me and I answer on accident and they're like, "Hey, I'm with this show you just attended. Tell me about your experience." Sure, I'll spend 5 minutes with them.
Or if they left a voicemail, would you call back?
No.
So what would be the best way for like advice for event planners who want to get the feedback and want to prove that exhibiting at their show was worth it for you? How could they get that feedback from you?
I don't think they can get it from me, but I don't think I'm the typical profile of the exhibitor, right? Like, I think most of the exhibitors, they have event teams or VP of marketing or director of marketing, event marketing professionals whose job it is to have these conversations. And like, if I had somebody like that in house, I would say, yeah, you should talk to these people and let them know what we think so they can maybe improve their show. But for me, that's just a low leverage activity. I don't want to spend my time doing that. I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I have more important things to do.
No, I don't disagree. And I think that's important to think about, the CEOs. I mean, you're a small business, so obviously you don't have an events team, you don't have a marketing team, but the event people, that's who they probably would be reaching out to and not the CEO of a company or the CTO of the company. And you obviously know the numbers because you have a small but mighty team, but in a larger scale company, you're not calling the CEO of Salesforce to be like, "Oh, did you guys have a good time at our show?"
Exactly.
Is there something that the planners could give to you, data or support items to make the show more impactful? So could they enable you before you come to the show to make sure you have the best experience there?
Yeah, I think like a dream outcome would be like, hey, I'm going to go to this little show. I have a target of maybe 15 CIOs or decision makers that I want to target, and if I had the opportunity to do like some kind of speed dating or like pre-arranged meeting that the show organizers set up for me, I would pay money for that. Right? I wouldn't mind investing more money to say, hey, somebody else book me the meetings to where I can talk to these people. That we try to do that on our own. We don't do a good job of it because, again, I have other things to do.
Sure.
But yeah, if they did that for me, I'd pay for that.
The one-on-one appointment settings where you didn't have to do it. They sort of, Tinder matched you with like the right people to have meetings
Exactly.
with.
Yeah, that'd be a value add.
Okay, I love that. All right, last couple of things here. So we talked a little bit in the podcast about your attribution sort of structure and model to prove that you had 17x, 28x. I mean, that's incredible, 28x on a show. Walk me through sort of, you use Salesforce, like how do you attribute that? And when in the process of the year do you go back and say, okay, this is something we want to sign up for again? Is that at the end of the year, end of a fiscal year? Walk me through that attribution and evaluation piece.
Yeah, so yeah, we use Salesforce CRM. So I only enter the leads that become qualified in the CRM because I'm not going to sit here and put in 150 business cards worth of leads, and I don't use the scan. I'm not a scanner guy. So we only put in sales qualified opportunities, and we obviously keep track of the opportunities that we close. And then I know within 3 months of doing the show whether or not I'm going to do it again. Right? We know that we'll have. And I'll know by the quality of the opportunity, even before the deal closes, whether or not, hey, we got, I don't know, 7 good qualified opportunities. If I have 7, I'm going to close 5. And every customer to us is worth like 300 grand. So we should do that again.
And are you measuring typically 3 months out? Because this has been the bane of my existence in all event people when they're immediately evaluating the show right after it happens. And no one buys immediately after a show. So I'm like, you should be measuring 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, because sometimes those sales cycles are really that long. So 9 months post show is when I would be like putting the final stamp of like, this is worth it. So were you looking for the first time, like 3 months after the event?
I would say I'm measuring this constantly because like I'm the salesperson here. And as we grow the sales team, it'll be different because I won't have as close of a visibility into it. But yeah, I look at constantly 3 months. 3 months is probably my attention span for it. Should we go longer? We could, but like I have a pretty good idea by 3 months.
By 3 months. And then at that point, you're saying, yes, we're going to do this again, and you sign up that moment? Or do you wait for the show to reach back out and be like, it's time to renew and sign up for next year?
Yeah, the latter. I got an email like a month ago, like, hey, mark your calendars. This is the show date. And so I send that to my EA and just let her know, like, hey, we need to remind me to register for this one when it's open.
That's awesome. And is there a threshold when you're evaluating sponsorship? Like, you want the one-on-one appointments, you want speaking spots. Is there a package that's more important than not? Or do you want to pick your own sort of sponsorship levels? Like, you want an a la carte where I want a speaking spot and a booth, and I don't know, I want to sponsor the coffee cart, as opposed to like, you're a gold sponsor and here's what you get.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if I look back at one of the recent shows we did that we really liked, it was like, hey, here's the gold sponsorship, but we were able to talk to the show organizers and say, hey, like I don't need 7 booth passes, so I really only need 3. And so what they did was like, all right, well, in exchange for the booth passes, we will let you sponsor the room drop free of charge. And so that was really cool and flexible of them to let us do that. So like, yeah, package, but maybe mold the package to be more bespoke to what we're looking for.
So some flexibility in it, like, it gives you a starting point, but then you can kind of move things around. Like you said, you don't have 7 necessarily people going to the show. So how can we swap that up for something else?
Yeah, exactly. And the room drop was, awesome. We had so many people come to our booth and just say, thank you so much. That was a really cool gift.
What'd you give?
I'll give away my secret. We did these little like branded sound machines.
Oh, like a sleeping sound machine?
Yeah.
I mean, genius.
Yeah.
A room drop with a sound machine. I mean,
yeah, it was great. My EA came up with that idea, and I'm serious. Like the amount of people that were like, "Oh my gosh, I can never sleep in hotels. This is awesome!" Or I have a young kid at home, and we travel, and we don't want to bring the big hatch, so this is amazing that we can bring. And so a lot of people really like that, and we got like the amount of people that came to us and thanked us for that. Like they went out of their way to say thank you.
That's cool. Amazing. I love that. So my last question that kind of leads me in. The famous debate of swag, branded or unbranded. Did you put your logo on the sound machine?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you put your logo on any swag you're going to give out? You want to have it on there? Like, for example, a cutting board. Like if I were to give a cutting board, would you put your logo on the cutting board?
Okay, so I think it's different. Right? In my opinion, if you're going to go to a trade show or an event or something, and you're bringing swag to give to a large amount of people, then yes, it should be branded. But we also send our clients gifts, right? Like I sent one of my clients like this really high end, like a steak knife set. I'm not putting my logo on a personal gift that I give to somebody, but for a large audience at a show where I don't know these people, yes, I'm putting my logo on it.
So an intimate dinner, executive dinner of 10 or 15 people that you're doing a high touch point, high value gift, you're not branding, but mass to the producers, sound machines, swag in a booth, logos all day long.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it. All right. Last piece of advice for meeting planners from a sponsor exhibitor perspective. How can they best interact with you? How do they work with you to get the most money out of your company?
Make it easy.
And what does that mean for you? Make it easy.
Come to me. Don't ask me what do you want. Come to me with a point of view about what other organizations typically purchase if they look like me.
And how they got their most money. Like this person came and did this and got the most return from being at our show.
Yeah. Come to me with best practices. Come to me with a POV point of view. Come to me with a suggestion. You're the expert. It's your show. You should know or have a perspective on what I should be asking and what I should be looking for. And you want me to be successful. So come to me with something that's going to make me the most successful, that within reason, obviously. Like, don't tell me you'll have the most success if you just spend $100,000. Like, really?
But okay, but maybe they should tell you why it's worth the $100,000. Then you might listen a little more.
Yeah, that's just your opinion, though.
Of course.
Yeah, come to me like with some solid evidence. I'm a big evidence guy.
well, we're talking hypothesis. I mean, maybe you have a future as a scientist with all your hypothesis and evidence.
It's funny you say that. We just had a conversation this morning with a customer. We're troubleshooting, and I use that exact analogy. I'm like, we are scientists. We're developing hypothesis, and we want to test all the variables.
I mean, I consider myself in that way sort of an event scientist and marketing scientist. It's all just, what works today won't necessarily work tomorrow. And even during the pandemic, I was putting on events that we called the 6 Foot Laboratory because we were experimenting with the way how we could get back in person as quickly as possible, but still being, 6 feet apart. And all of that came. This is the funny story that I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the 6 Foot Laboratory came out of one of my favorite shows, Parks and Recreation. And Tom Haverford calls himself a party scientist, and he creates Entertainment 720 Laboratory to throw like the most epic parties. And I was like, man, we just have to do a lab. We have to science this out and figure out what's going to work. And the only way to do it is to get people in a room to do it.
That's exactly right. I'm a firm believer in that business is a series, no matter what department you're in. Business is a series of if-then hypotheses. And the challenge is, how do we make N equal enough volume to actually test it thoroughly?
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, event planners, be a scientist and make it easy for your exhibitors and sponsors to get the most out of their package and how they want to spend money and show up at your shows. Awesome. Well, Adam, thank you so much. It was an invigorating conversation. Could go in a million directions, but I really appreciate the time and all your insight and how we as event people can work, smarter and better and make better experiences for the people that come.
Yeah. Thanks for the great conversation.